Alright guys, today I'm about to share a technique so powerful, it almost feels like a superpower. It's called self-controlled silence, and if you master it, you'll command attention, respect, and attraction effortlessly, without having to chase or seek validation. The ability to hold back when others speak, to remain composed in the face of chaos, and to let your presence do the talking is one of the most underrated yet highly effective skills a man can develop. But before we dive deeper, let's clear up a misconception. This isn't about being boring, cold, or unapproachable. It's not about giving people the silent treatment or playing manipulative games. It's about understanding the true power of restraint, developing presence, and exuding a level of confidence that naturally draws people toward you without you having to say much at all. In a world where everyone seems to be talking over one another, trying to make the most noise, the most jokes, or the most points, the one who remains silent and composed becomes a beacon of interest. This power is often overlooked because we're conditioned to think that attention must be earned by speaking constantly, showing off, or filling any moment of quiet with words. But let me tell you, this is far from the truth. Silence, when mastered, becomes your most powerful tool. Imagine for a second that you're at a social gathering. The typical scene plays out. Most guys are doing the usual. They're talking too much, trying too hard to get noticed, cracking jokes just for approval, bragging about their latest accomplishments, or endlessly competing for attention. Meanwhile, you take a completely different approach. Instead of trying to be the loudest person in the room, you remain calm, composed, and watchful. You don't rush to be heard, you simply stay present. And here's the interesting part. The more you stay composed and silent, the more people are drawn to you. They can't help but wonder why you're not desperate for attention like everyone else. The less you seek validation, the more valuable you become. You don't need to chase conversations. They naturally find their way to you. Your presence does the work. Many men believe that in order to stand out, they must talk more, be more animated, and constantly engage with everyone around them. But this is a trap. The truth is, the man who speaks less but speaks with purpose holds far more power than the one who fills every silence with unnecessary words. When you learn how to harness the power of self-controlled silence, you become magnetic. You become the one others respect and want to engage with. So, what makes silence such a game changer in attraction, social dynamics, and life in general? Why is it that a man who speaks less and controls his words can dominate a conversation without saying much at all? Quick break, guys. For those of you asking about the course, it's no longer available. You're late, and that's just how it is. But for those of you who are serious about stepping up and taking control, I've created a one-on-one chat with me. Choose your package and let's solve any problem you're facing, whether it's crushing your goals or handling that conversation with a girl. Let's break down why silence is so powerful. Observation. The quiet man is the one who sees everything. He's paying attention to the small details, how people move, how they communicate non-verbally, the subtle changes in body language. He notices the things others miss. He understands the hidden motives of those around him, and he uses that insight to his advantage. He's not just reacting to events as they unfold. He's reading the room, calculating his moves, and waiting for the right moment to act. This ability to perceive more than you express gives you a significant edge, making you more capable, more attractive, and more in control. Self-control. The ability to stay silent in a world full of noise shows incredible self-control. It's not easy to resist the urge to speak out of impulse, especially when you're surrounded by people who are eager to fill every moment with chatter. But when you resist this impulse, you demonstrate immense inner strength and discipline. Silence shows that you're not controlled by emotions or external pressures. You're guided by logic and strategy. You're not seeking validation or approval through your words. Instead, you're allowing your presence and actions to speak for you. This level of control is rare, and that's what makes it so attractive. It tells people that you don't need to constantly prove yourself, and that confidence alone is magnetic. Confidence. When you speak less, you appear more confident. The less you need to explain yourself or justify your actions, the more secure you seem. A man who isn't constantly trying to prove himself doesn't need to fill every silence with words. He knows that his value isn't determined by how much he talks, but by who he is. That level of quiet confidence, where you know your worth without needing to shout about it, is incredibly powerful. It draws people to you and, more importantly, makes women feel attracted to your grounded sense of self. It's a natural, unforced confidence that exudes power and security. Impact. The less you speak, the more impact your words will have when you do choose to speak. People will listen when you finally say something because they'll know that it has meaning. Your words won't be lost in a sea of meaningless chatter. They will carry weight and people will pay attention. You become the person whose opinions are valued because you don't waste words on trivial matters. When you speak, it's deliberate, impactful, and purposeful. Intelligence. A man who speaks less is often the one thinking the most. He's not simply reacting to what's happening around him, he's analyzing, planning, and thinking ahead. While others are engaged in the back and forth of daily chatter, he's playing the long game. He's always 3 steps ahead because he takes the time to think and process before speaking. This level of intelligence isn't always visible at first glance, but it becomes clear as soon as you realize how well thought out and strategic his actions are. This makes him not only more capable, but also more intriguing. People naturally want to be around someone who is always thinking, always observing, and always staying ahead of the curve. Let me give you a personal example. I remember being at the gym where I observed 2 very different types of guys. One guy was loud, constantly flexing, talking to everyone, and trying way too hard to get noticed by the women around. He made sure that everyone could hear his conversations, he bragged about his workouts, and he laughed the loudest at his own jokes. But here's the thing, the women weren't impressed. In fact, they seemed annoyed. Meanwhile, there was another guy who barely spoke. He worked out in silence, focused on his routine, and didn't need to show off. He wasn't loud or boastful, he didn't chase attention. But here's the twist, he was the one who got the most attention. The women around him noticed him more than the loud guy. Why? Because he wasn't desperate for attention. His quiet confidence spoke for him, and that's exactly the power of self-controlled silence. So, how do you start applying the power of silence in your own life? On a date. Let her do most of the talking. Instead of trying to impress with words or cracking jokes to keep the conversation going, simply listen. Let her express herself. Let her fill the silence. This is something most men overlook. They feel the need to fill every silence with chatter, thinking that it will keep a woman interested. But in reality, women are far more attracted to a man who listens and lets them talk. When you do speak, make it count. Avoid rambling and be concise with your words. Speak with purpose and intention. Stay present. When you're with her, put your phone away and give her your full attention. It's a small act that can have a big impact. Most men are distracted, constantly checking their phones or looking around the room. But when you're fully engaged in the moment, it shows that you're in control and that she has your undivided attention. That focus and presence speak volumes about your self-discipline and value. Silence makes her wonder what you're thinking, and that curiosity draws her in. In texting, avoid over-explaining or sending long paragraphs. Keep your messages short, intriguing, and to the point. If she tells you she had a stressful day, don't send her a long text about your day as well. Instead, say something simple like, "Same here, but nothing I couldn't handle. Got any plans for the weekend?" This keeps the conversation light, maintains mystery, and lets her know you're a man of few words, but you still have plenty of value to offer. At work, in business, and in leadership roles, silence is a power move. People who are comfortable with silence hold the upper hand in conversations. In negotiations, for instance, the person who speaks the least often has the advantage. Why? Because they force the other person to keep talking, revealing more than they intended. The ability to stay calm, composed, and silent when necessary gives you an edge in any business or leadership situation. In a world where everyone is trying to prove themselves, the man who stays silent and composed stands out. He doesn't need to announce it. His presence alone says everything. He doesn't chase attention. People are drawn to him because he is in control of his actions, his thoughts, and his environment. If you found this valuable, make sure to subscribe and drop a comment below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Remember, you're only one decision away from transforming your life and your relationships. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Create it now. Take action today because your future, your happiness, and your love life are all in your hands. Click the link in the description and let's start this journey together. Thank you so much for watching. I can't wait to see you in the next video. And remember, you are worthy of a love that is real, deep, and built to last. Take that first step today.